Hey everyone, this is day 8 and I am heading out of Arizona. I'm packing up all of my stuff, getting the trailer ready, getting the horses ready to go. My California mare is going on her first big move. She's leaving Arizona and heading to her next big chapter, which is in California.
Are you ready for your first state road trip?
Of course, we have the donkeys being the donkeys. And she loads like a champ now. She is so cool. So got her on, and now it's just time to get Lynx on. And we're ready to hit the road. And so we started the drive and it was about 7 hours long, and then this happened.
One of my tires on my trailer just exploded. It was super fun. This is a great start to the trip. But both the horses were great. I feel bad that was that mare's first road trip experience, where I did not look this disgusting this morning when I left the house, but then I ended up on the side of the road.
So that was an experience, but we still made it to California okay. And I ended up on Rue, of course. This is the reason why I didn't video anything else for day 8.
No, I'm videoing. I said I was gonna be doing a video of day 8 with my mare, and I'm not now.
Mustang unloaded really great and she settled in really nice, so I kind of let her be for the night.
Hey guys, today is day 8 working with my Mustang for the California Extreme Mustang Makeover, and we are in Southern California at the facility that Roulette is actually at. And I'm just going to do a quick morning session. She got to settle in tomorrow, and today it's like 6:30 a.m., 6 a.m. around there. Just going to do a really quick session today, and then tomorrow we might have a longer session, but I want to make sure she has plenty of time to settle in.
So this might be the last time that I really cover all of the warm-up exercises and groundwork that I do. I think I do a few new ones here. Again, just starting with yielding those hips, getting her all loosened up, getting those shoulders moving. It's kind of cool. You can see her progression along the way the past couple days with her shoulders and her hips, and she's getting a lot softer and more fluid with it all. I really like how quiet I can be with my energy with this mare. However, sometimes she does get a little pushy and kind of resistant, so then that's when I will increase my energy, but usually I can stay pretty soft. We'll get a few good backup steps in here. So if she kind of resists against that rope, I'll start bumping it to add a little pressure to that nose band to get her to back up a little bit quicker. And now sending her out. I really like that she can stay on a nice calm walk when she's lunging too. I know a lot of horses that just go right into the trot or into the canter, but that walk is so important because especially when you're starting them under saddle, you want to be able to walk on them before you trot, so it's important that they know how to move around at a walk. Plus, it's really good for them to be comfortable and relaxed, and I feel like they can find that easiest initially in the walk. Just keep that forward movement, keep increasing pressure until she gets back out. It's really cool to see her progress though. Nice soft send out. See, this is her more difficult side. You can see she's kind of yielding out without me even asking. She actually took a few leg yield side pass steps over there, which was interesting, but that's kind of her dragging to the outside of the pen when I really want her to stay soft on that circle around me. Up into the trot. And I don't think right now, I'm not stressing too much on the canter. Of course, I do want to take a couple steps to get used to it, to start to learn how to hold it longer. It's going to help build up her stamina and her muscle, but right now she gets tired pretty easily. Getting her used to feeling everywhere. Pretty mild desensitization. Kind of came into my space without me asking, so I'll just back her up to correct her. And this is a new exercise that usually I do on the first couple days, but this mare didn't really have any trouble with being crazy spooky, and I didn't really have to throw a rope over her back to get her used to touch or feeling. So I'm going to practice what I call snaking. So snaking it over her back and kind of looping it over her neck, get her used to that rope moving all around her. And now I do this exercise that I've already prepared her for by flexing, and I've touched her hind end with the stick and some of the rope. So now I'm going to fully put it around her, get her to flex to the side, and pretty much I just want her to follow her nose and move her hindquarters out of the way and find that release on her own with her nose. So I'm just going to hold. I might bounce on it a little bit if I feel like she's just sitting on the rope. And that was her first time, and sometimes horses have a pretty bad reaction from the rope being behind them, but she did great. Again, tossing that rope over is going to help a little bit with her high head. I'm going to start to teach her how to relax through her neck and kind of hold a more relaxed posture. So again, cool to see how just above her hocks and she's not reacting. A lot of horses, if they get it near their tail or even under their tail, they kind of panic. Good, but because of all that hip yielding and the flexing, she can figure out that exercise pretty easily. And I did do that on both sides. This is my first time touching her tail. She's pretty darn relaxed with it. And that's also a good exercise, the snaking the rope over their back, for when a horse is pretty wild and you toss a rope over their back and they kind of take off. Just so it doesn't come off, leave it on there quiet and then start snaking it to add movement and motion to it, but it can still stay up there. I kind of need a more feral horse to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. We're preparing a little bit with our feet, holding them for longer, stretching them forward. I love how quiet she is when I pull it forward and place it down. It's so important that you're the one to place your horse's hoof down rather than your horse ripping the hoof out of your hand and putting it back down. I always make sure that I place the hoof all the way down to the ground with my own hand. Working on touching those hind legs. Another good thing to remember is before you start asking your horse to pick up their hoof, just make sure they're comfortable with your hands touching all over their legs, because for me personally, I don't want to just touch my horse's leg and have them pick up their hoof instantly. I want them to wait until I ask them to pick it up, because then if I'm trying to put polo wraps on or boots or something, they're going to just think to instantly pick up their hoof if I put my hand down there. So I think it's important to get them used to just the feel of your hand there too. And now we're on to tacking up. That rope is over her neck. She can move if she wants. Good. I just want her to be fully comfortable with it, and that's my fault. I got that stirrup stuck under there, so she has some extra weirdness to deal with. she was pretty darn good to tack up, so I'm thinking I might start tacking her up outside of the round pen, or even tied up on like a quick release or one of those little metal ring releases. And we're going to go through all the gates, make sure we have a nice relaxed walk up into the trot. In general, she's more willing to stay out and move out when she has tack on her back. I think it's still something she thinks about a little bit. We have the lovely morning birds. And she's starting to get a little lazy, so I'm just going to increase that energy to make sure we have a forward moving trot. Patting on that saddle again. I remember how that initially bothered her quite a bit. Good, and those pole releases, I always come back to those. And I can actually teach them, I think I talked about this before, like if patting on the saddle bothered her, I would teach her that when I pat on the saddle, I do a pole release at the same time, so it actually would turn into a form of relaxation. Really good. I talked about it in the last video where I was telling Jeff how normally I get to long line them, and I hadn't done that with her yet, so now I'm just going to see how she does with this. I put it through the stirrups on my saddle, and if anyone wants to see a closer setup of this, I can try to take a quick little video and put up my Instagram story or something. Again, I also prepared her for this by doing that exercise earlier where that rope went behind her hind end. So she's not worried about the rope back there. And I've already slapped the stirrups on her quite a bit, so the big difference here is I'm slightly behind her. I'm at a little bit of a different angle, and I can control that outside rein. And I believe today we just stay at the walk. I want to make sure I'm pretty loose and have no pressure on her when we're walking, but then when I ask her for a halt, I'm just going to try to hold her in place. The second she stands and cements her feet, I'm going to release. And I'll step her forward just by a vocal cue and then tap if I need to, and then use my lines if I have to. And we're working on those turns. Super important that I make sure to release as soon as she finds that line that she's turning into.
Good girl. You're doing great. Alright, and now back up. Good. There you go. One step. You got this.
We got one backup step. That was nice. She gets a little stuck a few times. I just make sure to stay slow and quiet with her. And she always finds her way out. She's doing so awesome. So if I have one that's kind of antsy with the halt, I'll ask them to halt. The second they do release, if they step forward out of it, I'll add that pressure on the rope again. You can see how my releases are working if you watch my hands in the lines. Good, so I release right there, add pressure there, release. Just until she figures out what I'm asking. Good, and then we're soft. She's still moved. Back her up into her spot. So I just stay patient through those halts, but I make sure that there's no tension on it when she is standing still.
Good girl. I know, it's weird.
So she's trying to go left here. I want her to go right, so I'm going to make sure I open and close my fingers on that right rein. I really couldn't ask for a better first long lining session. Good, I'm just asking her to come in, and I'm pretty sure that's where I end it. I have her back out, and I have one of the lines attached to the stirrups, and I don't necessarily want her to go forward and move off of it. I'm just using it more to desensitize her. I started doing this maybe a year ago or so, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was a way for me to safely desensitize the horse from stirrups or noise on the saddle at a distance so they don't jump right on top of me. And you've heard me talk about before how I like to desensitize not only the halt but also the walk, trot, canter. So that's a really cool way that I can make something move on the saddle from a distance.
It's so crooked. That is the end of day 8, and she did really awesome. She's still standing back there all tacked up. I'm gonna untack her last. And thank you guys for watching, and day 9 should be out soon. What are you doing? What are you doing?